everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Neverwinter Nights. Last episode, we completed what we had to do in the Docks District and recovered the third part of the cure. We only have one area left, Black Lake, the area with all the rich. But before we do, I think we need to speak with each of our companions. Let us start with Dalen here.
Yes? Is there something you need?
I'd like to talk for a while. And I would like you to continue your story from before, if you would be so kind. I suppose you deserve to know the rest of the story, Ken. I have kept this weight upon my heart, but we are in this together. We are both warriors, after all. If I cannot turn to my brothers in arms for aid, who in this world can I count on? There's something troubling me, Ken. My quest to prove my worth as an Uthgard warrior has not yet begun, and already I fear I have failed. Failed? How? I am not the first Red Tiger warrior to be exiled in this way, though most who undertake a vision quest do so as punishment for committing some crime or transgression against the tribe. When the warrior is sent from the tribe, he is given a special talisman. This talisman must remain by his side, for its magic brings the visions, and the visions illuminate his quest. My talisman was a simple brooch worn by my mother, one of sentimental and spiritual value. Alas, I fear my quest will never be complete now, as the talisman, the key to my visions, is lost. Lost? It happened shortly after I started work at the docks. I tried to keep a vigilant guard over the talisman, but the district is crawling with pickpockets and cut purses. Ever since it was stolen, I have sought the brooch, but how can one locate such an object? It is unique, but of little monetary value. It may be that the thief who stole it threw it away when he realized how little it was worth. That was partly the reason I stayed so long at the docks, hoping I might somehow discover the brooch. I am certain it is somewhere in the docks district, even now, if it was not burned on the bonfires of the plague corpses. Don't worry, Dalen, we'll find your brooch, somehow. I know I shall probably never find my mother's brooch again, Ken, but I shall not give up hope. Without it, my vision quest will never be revealed to me. Actually, fun fact, if you remember, as we've been going around and collecting items, there's been a few unusual ones that I've collected. This is why. This is the brooch. As I was saying, this is the brooch. And in fact, we have the items for a couple of these people. A couple of our companions. And we will be able to hand them to them right away. Dalen, is this the brooch you were talking about? My mother's brooch! Thank you, Ken. I can never repay you for this gift. I have no gold or treasure to reward you, but there is one thing I can offer. A small token, perhaps, but it is all I have. Among my people, there is nothing we value more than friendship. You have proved yourself a true friend, Ken, so I give you this amulet as a sign of the bond we share. Thank you, Dalen. Because of you, Ken, my vision quest can continue. I will keep my mother's brooch by my side so it may guide me on my quest. But until I receive a vision to guide me on my quest, I will remain by your side. Once more, I thank you for finding my mother's brooch, Ken. Of course. And we now have Amulet of the Red Tiger Tribe +1. And a +1 enhancement bonus to strength and an immunity to fear. This is very, very useful. Especially because, as time goes on, it will become more powerful. Just you wait and see. Now then, how about we speak with Tommy here?
I figured they'd drag your carcass. Eh?
By the way,
What
Tommy,
can Tommy
I'd like
do
you to
for
level
you?
up. You'd be more useful to me with a little training. I'm always useful. Seeing as I've gained a bit of skill, though, let me sit down for a moment. Then I can show you what I can do now. Yeah, as we go through and level up, eventually they'll level up too. They'll eventually start looking different, gain cloaks, different armor, etc.
Eh?
But they'll be stronger. Tommy, continue your story from before. Oh, fine, fine. Picture this then, my lord. There I was, lying in the arms of my human sweetie, completely unaware my angry patroness was on her way. I was also unaware that at the same time my sweetie's father, the vizier, had been tipped off to my presence by an old rival of mine. Both the wizard and the Medusa were descending on the tower determined to kill me, and I was contentedly asleep in the hay, naked as a jaybird. Well, that can't have been good. Yes, well, being naked in the hay can leave you picking straw out of your... Oh, you probably mean the coming to kill me thing. No, that wasn't good. So I'm lying there with my big smile, suddenly, BAM! The door to the law flies open, and there's the Great Vizier full of rage. So he caught you with his daughter? Did you defend her honor? Oh no, I'd already taken her virtue, and I wasn't aware of any honor, my lord. No, I hid behind her and screamed in terror like a banshee. Not the most heroic picture, I'll admit. I darted through his legs and fled naked into the streets. Before I knew it, the Vizier was chasing me through half the city, firing off lightning bolts and curses at a rapid pace. My patroness was also a bit miffed to see us breeze past her, and she too took up the chase. Her fury grew and grew as we stayed ahead of her. I ran for all I was worth, but bugger me if that wizard couldn't move those skinny little legs of his. The Medusa finally found him throttling me angrily atop the largest building in the Market Saban. What happened then? Well, my patroness was mad enough that she was determined to be the one to murder me first. She and Vizier yanked me between them like some tug-of-war, and all I could do was gurgle helplessly. They shouted threats and screamed at each other until the Medusa lifted her veil. The Vizier saw this and launched himself at her, casting a deadly spell as he flew. He hit her squarely, and they both flew over the edge of the rooftop. I would have been gladly rid of them but alas, poor Tommy was catapulted right along with them. We had 3 canopies on the way down and finally landed square in the middle of the market. The Vizier's spell had worked as the Medusa was dead, but not before he had been turned into a statue. A broken statue by that time, and there I sat, naked and stunned but otherwise unhurt. And this made you famous? Well, sure, my lord. The crowd assumed I'd killed a powerful Medusa and a famous wizard, barehanded no less. I was in no condition to argue. Word spread rapidly, of course, and the story grew. You wouldn't believe some versions I heard. Sadly, the constabulary believed them. I was a wanted man for murdering the Vizier. Good for my reputation, perhaps, but bad for my health. His daughter wasn't too impressed either. She was angry at you for killing her father? You'd think so, but no. She just didn't want to shack up with a wanted halfling. I had to prove my innocence. That's why I decided to come to Neverwinter. One of my oldest friends lives here and is a forgery master. I was hoping he'd make some documents to clear my name in Callanpole. Sadly, I suspect Bellman's fallen victim to the plague. Can't find him anywhere, so that means no evidence and no marriage for poor little Tommy. Perhaps we'll find your friend yet. Oh, who cares about him? I just want those documents. Maybe he finished them before he croaked. I can only hope. Well, surprise, surprise, we have them. Right there. Are these the documents you're talking about? What? You're kidding, right? Let me see that. Hayden Lord Friedling. Halfling. Yep, that's my old moniker. And it really is Belmar's work after all. Just my luck that it would be his crappiest work ever. I'd be laughed out of Callanpole if I tried to use this. Ah, well, that's life. Say to have the biggest buck teeth anyway. I don't know what I was thinking. I suppose I should thank you for saving me the effort, my lord. Come to think of it, here, let me give you this in return. It was a ring that the Vizier wore that I managed to slip off his finger before he got stoned. Thank you, Tommy. Yeah, well, the Vizier seemed to value it. Said it had great magic in it, but it never did nothing for me. Maybe it'll bring you luck. At any rate, I don't have to worry about finding stupid Belmar anymore. I would have had to kill him for being an idiot anyway. Let's just keep on with your quest, my lord.
I've been waiting.
Of course. And the necklace we have is Ring of the Rogue. This plain-looking ring pulsates with a faint glow and is warm to the touch. While not alive in any sense of the word, it does seem likely that this ring takes time to adjust to its wearer, and over time its abilities may grow. Tommy Undergallows, its previous owner, stated that he couldn't get it to work. No doubt he discarded it after first placing it on his finger and was unaware of its unique properties. Which gives us a bonus to dexterity and disable trap and open lock, neither of which is very useful to us. But anyway, we'll hold on to that for now. How about we talk with Sharwind? See what her story is.
I suspected you'd show up here soon. I'm glad to see I was right.
If you don't mind,
So,
thank
we
you,
join
Aelin.
up
I
once
just
more?
wanted you with me.
Yes?
Level up, please. Thank you.
Yes? Is there something you
Now,
need?
I want you to continue your story from before. You want to hear the rest of the tale about my ill-fated affair, do you? I suppose there's no harm in it. I should have run off with Dannon, or turned him aside completely. I did neither, as I was unwilling to disobey my mother. Instead, I seduced Lord Farthington as she wished, and loved my bard in secret. Dannon was kind of me. He enthralled me with his music, and I adored him. Lord Farthington, on the other hand, was merely lustful and possessive, and my mother was overjoyed. Why didn't you simply make a decision? It was easier by far to give everyone what they wished. Lord Farthington wished a wife, and my mother wished me to get married, and Dannon loved me. As the date of my marriage to Lord Farthington grew closer, he began to suspect that something was amiss. I spent far too much time away from him and in Dannon's arms. It was all my mother could do to convince him that I was true to his love, and it was she who finally discovered me in the arms of my bard. An unpleasant scene, I would bet. To say the least. My mother was horrified beyond belief and sent the guards chasing after Dannon. He escaped, thankfully, and I was undeterred. Mother turned on me then and forbade me to see Dannon ever again. I was to marry Lord Farthington, and that was all there was to it. I refused at first. I loved Dannon, and nothing else mattered. So she begged me. That proud woman got on her knees with tears in her eyes and begged me not to abandon her to poverty. I could do as I was expected, save my mother and marry a man whom I did not love, or I could run off into the unknown with Dannon. You chose Dannon? I struggled with the decision, for I had never had to make up my own mind. But the thought of that dreary life with Lord Farthington frightened me so. I chose Dannon. Lord Farthington was outraged. He tried to have Dannon and me executed, and we were forced to flee with not a copper between us. My mother was crushed. She was turned out from noble society as she feared, and lost everything to repay my stepfather's debt. What did you do then? I fled from Neverwinter with Dannon, and we traveled far, and he taught me how to become a bard in my own right. I did not return home for many years. Until recently, in fact. It was an odd feeling to discover that Lord Farthington had lost his own fortune years ago, and both he and his household were now dead from the plague. That was the fate that had awaited me. And my mother... I've only been to see her once since my return. She still lives. She has lived all these years as a poor seamstress, it seems, bitter and blaming me for the poor luck which had befallen her. We said little to each other as she ordered me out of her leaky cottage. I did find out one thing, however. She's dying. She suffers from bone rot, a disease which would require the attention of several clerics for a month to heal normally. With the plague, however, no one can help her, though I have tried to find one who can. Is there nothing that can be done? I know of only one cure for bone rot, an extract from a flower that it is said can only be grown on the fabled cliffs of Mount Celestia. Finding such a potion would be difficult, I have no doubt. It is my hope to find one, however, and save my mother's life. I do not owe her, really, but I would like to do this one thing for her now. Well, surprise, surprise! Right here, Celestial Elixir. That's what we have. Is this the potion you're talking about? It is indeed. How you came across something that can only be made on another plane, however... Well, I won't question it. Thank you, Ken. I'll have this sent to Mother as soon as possible. You've made me feel much better. Here, take this. It is a belt that belonged to Dan and that I've saved. I want you to have it. Hopefully it will serve you well. Thank you, Sharwin. I am not used to kindness from others, Ken. I will not forget this. Let us just proceed with your mission now. And with that, we have Belt of the Performer. This leather belt appears innocuous enough, its true power not evident until it is actually worn. There are small inscriptions embedded in the leather throughout the item, its language unknown and the true history of the item unknowable. Gives a bonus to Charisma, and to Perform, and Persuade. That's definitely something we're wearing. So the Sash of Shimmering, that's going to be sold.
I've been waiting for...
Anyway, Dalen, come with me. It's time to speak with the creepy Grimnaw. See what we have for him, if anything.
I have been waiting for...
Time for
Is
my
there
throat to go
something
sore. Please improve yourself, Grimnaw.
Is
And
there
now,
something?
I want you to continue your story from before.
I told you earlier this was a matter for those of my order, Ken. But you have proven yourself to be an agent of the Silent Lord. Death follows you wherever you go. I have not been completely honest with you about my reasons for coming to Neverwinter, Ken. I came here in search of someone.
Who?
Her name is Alaganda. Like me, she was a disciple studying to enter the Order of the Long Death. We often trained together in anticipation of our initiation. I will not describe our initiation rituals to you, Ken, but the Silent Lord claims many who undertake them. Only the few who survive, as I did, are welcomed into the Order of the Long Death. But Alaganda could not bear to face her own morality, and on the morning of her initiation she fled, breaking the vows she swore when she first joined the Order.
And you followed her here.
I did not follow her right away. The ravages of the ritual had left me broken and weak. But when I recovered, my instructor came to me and told me what I must do. Alaganda has denied the Silent Lord that which is rightfully his. For this, she must die. And because I am the lone survivor of the most recent initiation, I am the one given the privilege of killing her. If I am ever to advance further in the Order of the Long Death, I must bring back proof of Alaganda's death to my masters.
Proof? What kind of proof?
Alaganda always wears a forged silver ring embossed with the crest of her family, a soaring falcon against a full moon. After wearing it for so many years, the ring will not fit over her finger, and she would never willingly remove the ring while she lives in any case. The Silent Lord has many tools to reap his harvest. Alaganda may have succumbed to the plague or other misfortune, but I will search the city until I either kill her or find the ring that proves she is already dead.
I'll help you find and kill Alaganda. Or at least help you find her ring.
I will not rest until I find the ring that proves Alaganda has been taken by the Silent Lord, though I know my chances of success are few.
If I find it, I'll let you know.
Thank you, Ken. But for now we must return to the task at hand. The Silent Lord's hunger must be fed with a constant supply of new victims.
Unfortunately, we have not found the ring yet, so we will need to keep our eye open for it. That said, time to move on to Linu. Poor unfortunate elf. Let's hear the rest of her story. We know she's trying to get something, so let's see what we can do.
I hope that you would return. Hey there, dear.
Level up, please. Thank you.
Hey there, dear.
Now, tell me more about your story. I guess I should be glad to share my daunting task with a friend. We are both adventurers. If I trust you with my life, I should trust you with my troubles. I am sorry I was so overcome with despair, but, you see, I found the Silver Chalice of Moonbow once already. I found it in a small town called Lork, but then... Oh, Ken Daniels, I lost it again! How in the name of all that is holy did you lose it again? As I said, I found the chalice in the merchant town of Lork. The thief, a halfling, tried to sell it to a Zent merchant. When the halfling tried to charge him 500 gold, the Zent claimed the religious artifact as tribute to Bane. The halfling thief protested, but the mayor of the town is a Zent as well. Next thing the halfling knew, he was arrested for the murder of an old woman who had spit in the face of a Zent soldier the day before. Obviously, he never committed the crime. It never fails to shock me when people are capable of such injustice. How did you find all of this out? I found out what had happened when I showed up in town and saw a mob of people about to hang him. Everyone was laughing and telling the story to anyone who would listen. They actually thought that such injustice was funny. Even the bloody merchant was there for the hanging, and he was drinking from the sacred chalice. Now that takes a lot of gall. Don't admire him. There is nothing admirable about men with no honor. They already had the rope around the halfling's neck when I heard the whole story. I didn't know what to do, but I had to stop it. I ran forward into the crowd, yelling for them to stop, but I tripped and fell in the mud. I looked up and saw the face of a kindly grandmother. I reached for her hand, and she kicked me right in the teeth. You got beat up by an old woman. You may think this is funny now, but it was devastating at the time. The mob turned into a giant brawl with fists and laughter flying everywhere. I crawled out of the town and fled
I've crawled out of the crowd and fled town, weeping as I ran. I made it to the forest and collapsed in the bushes off the road. As I lay there weeping, I heard a twig snap. I spun around, and standing there behind me was the halfling. He winked at me and toasted me with a chalice which he held in his hand. I cried out that I had to have it back, but he just laughed and disappeared into the wood. I never saw him again.
Don't worry, Linu. I'll help you find the chalice.
Thank you, sweet Ken. That is a kind answer from a good friend. I know I shall probably never find the chalice again, Ken, but I shall not give up. I must return it to my people to restore my honor.
If I find it, I'll let you know.
Thank you, dear Ken, but don't let my concerns interfere with your duty to Arabeth. My problem is self-inflicted. Curing the plague is more important.
I have been waiting.
Of course. We have not found the chalice yet, but we will keep our eye out for it. It is quite important, after all. A religious artifact? Yeah, of course.
I
And
shall
that
do
just
as you
leaves
ask.
Body Knock
You're
here.
back. So you must need something.
Hold on. Dalen, what the hell are you doing way over there? Get out of there. Thank you. You're being stupid.
You're back.
Now then.
Is there something you
Body,
need?
first level up. See? Look, Body now has a cloak and some different robes.
Is there something you need?
Now, I want you to continue your story from before.
I told you earlier I came to Neverwinter to study the Wailing Death, Ken, but there was another reason I came as well. Given all that has happened, it seems rather unimportant now. But you did ask me, so I must conclude you are interested in my motivations. I have come to Neverwinter in search of bread.
Bread?
I know how foolish this sounds, but I had heard tales of a special type of bread found only here in Neverwinter. Leaven bread, they call it. It is said the loaf stays fresh for months and that it will never go stale or moldy. I was hoping that when I came to Neverwinter I could find someone to teach me the secret of making this wondrous leavened bread. If we could determine the agents that keep the bread from spoiling, I think the principles could be applied to any number of other uses. With a little research, this discovery could mean so much more than simple bread.
But you haven't found anyone to give you the recipe yet.
I looked for some time when I first arrived in the city, but it seems the secret is known only to a few master bakers, and unfortunately they have all been claimed by the plague. I suppose someone still has a copy of the recipe somewhere, but the more I witnessed the death and suffering in this place, the less important discovering this leavened bread became. I believe the discovery of the leavened bread recipe could have far-reaching benefits, and I would like to someday be able to bring a copy back to my home of Lantern. But I know your mission is more important, Ken. I will not let my scientific curiosity get in the way of your work.
Well, surprise, surprise, we actually have it here, the leavened bread recipe.
I happen to have a recipe for leavened bread right here. You do? This is wonderful. Yes, this is exactly what I need. I have no gold or treasure to offer you, but there is one thing I can offer. A small token, perhaps, but it is all I have. Before I left Lantern, I was given this ring by my master, Porphyro. He said it embodies the essence of discovery and the quest for knowledge. Because you have helped me in discovering the miracle of this leavened bread, I feel you have earned your right to wear this ring.
Thank you, Bodyknock.
The ring comes from the island of Lantern, island of discovery and invention. It has the power to grant insight to its wearer. I regret there is nothing else I can give you, Ken, but once more I thank you for what you have done. But we should return to our mission, to greater matters now, and resume your mission. Arabeth is counting on you.
I have been waiting.
Of course. And now we have a Lantanese ring. The band of this ring is covered with scripts and etchings in a strange foreign language. +1 charisma and +1 regeneration. I'm going to go ahead and wear both of these rings. I'm going to lose the light we had, but that's fine, I think. And because of that, we have extra dexterity and skills I never use, extra charisma and regeneration, perform, persuade, and more strength, plus an immunity to fear. All this is all wonderful. I am very happy for it. And that is all the quests. We still have 2 more items to find. The chalice for Linu, and a ring for, why did I forget his name already? The Dwarven Monk, the creepy guy. For the Order of the Long Death. You know who I'm talking about.
Hello?
I also really want to see if I can somewhere find adamantine. It's got to be somewhere in the last district. But we'll find it eventually. That said, next episode, we will indeed proceed into the Black Lake District. Or at least into an area before we get to the Black Lake District. That'll be in the next episode, however. So, until then, I am Chester44. That is Ken Daniels and Dalen Red Tiger. This has been a Let's Play of Neverwinter Nights, and I shall see you all next time.